to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. Following the announcement that movie star Alec Baldwin will face involuntary manslaughter charges in connection to the October 2021 on-set death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins, a legal expert says he's perplexed with the New Mexico District Attorney's aggressive decision. "I don't think this case would have been prosecuted if the defendant wasn't named Alec Baldwin," Nima Rahmani, a former federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, tells People. "I would not have prosecuted it. They're trying to throw the book at Baldwin and make an example out of him." Rahmani says he disagrees with the charging decision unless they have evidence that hasn't yet been publicly reported. On Thursday, New Mexico 1st Judicial District Attorney Mary Carmack always announced Baldwin, the 64-year-old Rust actor and producer, along with armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, will each face two separate charges of involuntary manslaughter for the fatal aiming of Hutchins 15 months ago. In news release from the Dow, S office states that a jury would decide not simply if they were guilty, but under which definition of involuntary manslaughter they were guilty. In order to be found guilty of the first involuntary manslaughter charge, the state must prove that Baldwin acted with negligence or a failure to exercise appropriate care in doing something. In New Mexico, this crime is punishable by up to 18 months in jail and a $5,000 fine. The DA's news release says the second charge Baldwin faces is involuntary manslaughter in the commission of a lawful act. In order for prosecutors to prove this, says Rahmani, they would need to show that he acted recklessly as distinguished from acting negligently. However, the second charge includes a firearms enhancement that carries a mandatory 5-year prison sentence if convicted, according to the release. For Baldwin to be found guilty of this charge, the state would have to prove that he acted recklessly with the weapon, citing the example of playing Russian roulette. Baldwin has claimed he never pulled the trigger when the gun went off, but an FBI forensic report obtained by ABC News last August alleges the firearm at the center of this case, when intact and functional, could not be made to fire without a pull of the trigger unless the hammer was decocked on a loaded chamber, and the hammer was struck directly. Baldwin's attorney Luke Nikas of Quinn Emanuel said in a statement obtained by People Thursday, "This decision distorts Helena Hutchins' tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him the gun did not have live rounds." Additionally, Rust Assistant Director David Halls took a plea agreement for his involvement in the deadly incident. He pleaded guilty to a charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon, a move that leads Namani to speculate Halls is likely cooperating against Baldwin and Gutierrez-Reed. Halls was handed down a suspended sentence and 6 months of probation, per the Dow's news release. Hutchins was shot and killed Oct. 21, 2021, after a prop gun held by Baldwin that turned out to contain live rounds discharged. Director Joel Souza was also wounded in the incident. In October, Baldwin and other Rust producers settled a wrongful death lawsuit filed by Hutchins' widower Matthew. Along with the settlement, the team agreed to complete the movie with Matthew now on board as an executive producer. Production on Rust was said to have resumed this month. Assistant Director Hall's attorney Lisa Taraco said in a statement, "Mr. Halls accepted a petty misdemeanor charge. Absent no charges at all, this is the best outcome for Mr. Halls in the case. He can now put this matter behind him and allow the focus of this tragedy to be on the shooting victims and changing the industry so this type of accident will never happen again. His charge is a petty misdemeanor, no jail time, unsupervised probation, $500 fine." Mr. Halls denies handing a firearm to Mr. Baldwin. Jason Bowles and Todd J. Bullion, attorneys for Gutierrez-Reed, said in a statement, "Hannah is and has always been very emotional and sad about this tragic accident, but she did not commit involuntary manslaughter. These charges are the result of a very flawed investigation and an inaccurate understanding of the full facts. We intend to bring the full truth to light and believe Hannah will be exonerated of wrongdoing by a jury." So after all this time, we thought he was going to escape. It seems though it was only the pandemic that stopped everything from taking place, and his celebrity could not stop him from finally being charged. Alec, the Baow Baldwin, one of the many celebrities who have quote unquote accidentally taken a person's life, but this celebrity just so happened to get charged. But as one of the lawyers stated, They really feel that if his name was not Alec Baldwin, if he wasn't a celebrity, if he did not have the money, the fame, all of this stuff, more than likely prosecution would not have taken place. It would have just been seen and deemed as an accident. But due to the fact that he is a celebrity, it is what it is. Now, the other thing that I will happen to note to people is some very interesting things, right? People need to do research on some of the individuals who lose their lives in certain ways. And they need to see what those individuals were outspoken about, looking into, were about to do specific works that were pertaining to specific things. Like I said, you could say, certain things are random occurrences. You could say that certain things are by a mistake. But when it deals with certain topics, then you have other people that are out here that are, in a sense, sent in a certain way, shape, or form to deal with these types of individuals. It makes you question, it makes you think about a lot of things. And, the main thing that I've told you guys before is that a lot of things that take place, it's a lot deeper than what you realistically think it is. Everything is a giant web and everything is pretty much connected pretty tightly, right? And depending on how tight, that line is, some people might want to cut it because it's a little bit too tight, it's a little bit too close. It might potentially cause some issues somewhere down the road. And as things keep transpiring, as things keep fluctuating and keep moving, you're going to start to see more and more instances of things taking place. Now, I will agree with one of the lawyers in an article that stated that they're, doing this to make an example directly out of him. I believe it. I 100% believe it. Right? Because to an instance, you have celebrities that are controlled and you have celebrities that are told to do certain things. If you don't, then you're going to lose that spot. We're going to blackball you. We're going to out you. We're going to do a variety of things, right? Like I said, the the main people who watch over celebrities have a lot of information, a lot of things directly on them. Um, you have to give up quite a bit depending on who you are in order to obtain certain types of wealth, finances, riches, and women and luxury, all of these things, right? And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, there's going to be some problems. Going to be some problems. Alec Baldwin has faced a lot of those problems in the public eye. That is just one way of things being dealt with by public shaming, having certain things directly out there for everybody to see and to judge in order to humiliate a individual. Either it might be a part of it or it just might happen that, hey, you didn't want to abide by the rules, you didn't want to do what we told you, so this is what is going to happen. This is just a little bit of a light touch. So now this is a bigger touch, and we see exactly where that ended up. We see exactly what's going to transpire. Now, to see if he's going to really face any time, who realistically knows? He has a lot of lawyers. He can pull a lot of strings. Everybody knows everybody. So, he might, just like some celebrities, get house arrest, right? He might not serve any real type of time, or he might be away for maybe a little bit to 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 show an example to other individuals, as to say like, hey, we put you here, we made you, we can also break you. If you don't do what it is that we tell you to do, then XYZ is going to take place, and it is what it is. And there have been other celebrities directly out here in the open, um, that have been made examples directly out of, right? Case in point, you can look at Kanye for an example, regardless on however people like him or not, or disagree or agree with him, whatever it is. The one main fact, the one main truth is that he is being made an example directly out of. And due to the fact that even with that information and it's blatantly obvious what is taking place, you still have a lot of people that are so tranced in their emotions that they can't think past their emotions. So they're just still on that basic, simple level of like, yeah, I just don't like him. I don't like his music. He said this, I don't like that. He also spoke him, I don't like that either. Who asked him for his opinion? Who asked him to be the spokesperson? Who asked him to be a messenger? Like I said, a lot of people aren't going to understand or see the message. That's because they don't want to. So, you know, it is what it is. Some people will see it, some people won't. I guess technically at this point in time, this is just me just blabbering and just talking and winding things together at this moment in time. But yeah, hopefully, you guys will pay attention to a lot of the stuff that is to come, over the next months to the next few years, because it is going to be a very, very eye-opening experience.